G'day, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to try something that I'd never done before on the channel because I've been a bit nervous to approach it, but I'm someone that really loves music. And this year there's been one album in particular that I've been listening to much more than all the others. Now, I'm just going to go through the music and what I thought of this entire album. And yeah, the album I'm talking about is Rob Zombie's The Electric Warlock Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser. In classic Rob Zombie style, it's very over the top, and I think we'll go through it and just talk a little bit about it. So for a little bit of history about me and Rob Zombie, I've been listening to Rob Zombie since White Zombie, and I think Thunder Kissin' was the song that probably, like most people, got me into White Zombie. I went back and listened to their discography, and I was pretty amazed to find out that he went on to do his own solo work. So once I found out that, hey, he's got that certain vocal style that I was really looking towards, it was very individual, and I couldn't find anything that was just like it. So I followed into Rob Zombie's solo work, and I haven't been disappointed yet. Most of his albums at least contain one or two catchy, awesome songs, with his debut album probably being my favorite. However, that being said, this album has a lot of interesting tracks to it as well, so let's get into that. So for The Last of the Demons Defeated, the first track, consider it something that's just getting you prepared for the album to come. An opening track, if you will. That's just getting you ready for the quick metal injection that this album will become. I can't really say too much about it, considering it is just one of those opening introduction to like the album tracks, except that you'll probably be saying Electric Warlock quite a bit. That leads into Satanic Cyanide, The Killer Rocks On. Now, you're going to probably catch me looking down at the album quite a bit, because with Rob Zombie's naming conventions, it's going to be quite a while to like say the whole track name. I usually remember it as something else. Like, I just remember this as Satanic Cyanide. Satanic Cyanide, The Killer Rocks On is very slow opening, but it really gets into that massive fuck you, welcome to the album, like halfway through. The guitars just kick in, and oh my god, just an amazing start to the album. You're like, okay, we're finally there. And my favorite part of the song is where it's like, get your rocks off. Oh man, so good, and I'll try and keep my attempts at singing to a minimum throughout this review. Track 3 is The Life and Times of a Teenage Rock God. Once again, just really building upon the previous song here. You got your signature Rob Zombie style lyrics, and oh man, this is like one of those hit songs. I was so glad when a music video was finally made of this one. I can imagine this as being great to chant along with your mates. Definitely one of the greater songs on the album, and a lot of fun to listen to. 4 is, well, Everybody's Fucking in a UFO. Now, this is the song that made me buy the album. I love Rob Zombie's films as well, so when I saw the music video with Sherry Moon Zombie, and like, I was like, that's it's the title alone makes you curious as to what this song might be. It's definitely an amazing song. Probably one of my favorites, and definitely my favorite on the first listen. This was the song that made me go, I need to buy this album. Upon checking this out, this has not left my phone, because I listen to my phone at work. This has not left my phone since I bought this album. Definitely give it a listen, even if you don't want to buy the album. Fucking amazing. Alright, so what can I say about track 5? A hearse that overturns with the coffin bursting open. This is definitely the come down from the metal injection high that I was talking about earlier. This allows you to take the breath, and it gets the heart rate down a bit, so you can sort of just like have a relax, have a breather, if you will, before you continue on with the rest of the album. And yeah, this slow tune, while sounding nice, it's probably just a filler track to get you calmed down and ready for the next tracks to come. Moving on to track number 6, The Hideous Exhibitions of a Dedicated Gore Whore. The organ really sets the tone for this song, for what is probably going to be considered a female counterculture anthem. It's definitely a fun song. The lyrics are very quotable, and I feel like if you're into the whole Rob Zombie style movies and the counterculture, that if you're someone that loves the Universal monster movies, or might be considered a gore whore yourself, you will definitely love this song. It's fun romp, and definitely good just to turn on to just chill and listen to a couple of zombie songs. My fucking favorite song. I didn't know anything about this track, so once I was going into it and I was just going in for my first listen, I was like, okay, cool. I really liked the Gore Horse song, and it was like classic zombie style. But then when I was hearing this opening, I was like, okay, hopefully we don't get another of the softer tunes. I was so fucking wrong. This is probably the most thrashy of the whole album. When you listen to it, it's so guitar heavy and intense that you just want to fucking get up and thrash about to it. Expect heavy moshes and concerts. My favorite song on the album right now. Number 8 is In the Age of the Consecrated Vampire, We All Get High. Now, if any song represents zombies, sort of tongue-in-cheek humor, it's definitely this one. What can I say about it? It's fun. It's got your burst of sounds and your wailing guitars. If you're into that, this is definitely the song for you. Always fun. Definitely one of the hits to come out of the album. And yeah, definitely just a fun song to even show non-zombie fans, and they'll probably get the humor as well. So we lead into number 9. Super Doom Hex Gloom Part 1. Now, this song, once again, is just like after another 3 songs, we get a breath. And this song definitely just serves as the calming down moment. It's just a nice little tune, although a little bit repetitive, that will get you to, whew, that was a great couple of songs we had. Get you to calm down and just build anticipation for the next rock ones to come. Number 10's In the Bone Pile is another musically intense song. Definitely very heavy. I don't know how to describe this except that the mix mash of sounds that Zombie has chosen to use definitely complement his entertaining lyrics and vocal style. I feel like even just reading the lyrics of this one will be fun, but In the Bone Pile has definitely been one of the songs that I have gone back to after listening to the album. Yeah, while not exactly one of the strongest on the first listening to, I find that on my repeated listens, that In the Bone Pile definitely stood out to me. The same could be said about track number 11, Get Your Boots On, That's the End of Rock and Roll. In my initial listening to this album, I didn't exactly find too much great about this song, to be honest. I didn't even find it that memorable. In repeated listens, though, I picked up on a couple of things that I really appreciated about it. The Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am in particular and the Get Your Boots On have become, I don't know, really fun to listen to. In fact, there's occasions where when I'm just listening to select songs from the album, Get Your Boots On will definitely be one of the tracks that I go to. So I'm not sure if you would require multiple listenings to this to get it, or it might have just been my particular taste, but it ends up being one of the stronger songs on the album because of it. With Warlock, track number 12, it definitely seems like the odd one out. It's less than expected to be, and it's at the tail end of the album as well. So I suppose that it gets kind of skipped over, especially when you compare it to its 2 previous ones. Upon repeated listens, I still find it sticks out like a sore thumb. Had it been individually released, maybe just not on an album, I would have found it more acceptable. Not to say that it's a bad song, it's just on this album, which seems so out there and strange, this one just seems soft, slow, melodic, and the piano is really good, but individually as a song, it's good. With the rest of the album, and when you're listening to it as an album experience, not so much. So if you do listen to it, I would recommend it in a playlist of slower sounding music that could be similar, or just by itself. So overall, what do I think about Rob Zombie's new album? The criticism does have to be made that the longest song on this is 5 minutes and 30 seconds. With a lot of the other songs clocking in at just over 2.5 minutes, it does feel like for how much you pay for your albums these days, and especially with the expectation that you have going in when you buy one, you do get the bang for your buck in this one, but only if you view it as I said earlier, short metal injections. This album is very exciting and hype-filled. It will get you thrashing around, but only for a little while. All these all the tunes on this album are great. With the exception of the filler tracks that come in every 3, and that I spoke about earlier, I feel like those were very unnecessary. I think they were only put on the album to pad out the album's already short length. And while that is a criticism to the album, I will also say that with the exception of those 3 tracks and maybe the last song, Warlock, it's a pretty solid album. Like, I think this is all great music. I've been listening to all this album constantly since it came out. I feel like, overall, whenever I need a quick fix, this is definitely the album that I go to. And as I've been saying throughout this review, it's just constantly been played for me. I think this is great. If I could see Zombie in concert, I would love to hear how these songs get played live. And I think that all the video clips that he's been releasing to accompany the music are just fun to watch. And I always looked excited and was like pumped up to see what he's done next. Anyway, that was my first music review. I really wanted to talk about Rob Zombie, and I just don't know how to do a sort of music review yet. So who knows? Maybe this will sort of like ease me into it a little bit. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for sticking around with me. Check out Rob Zombie's new album. I really liked it. And at the very least, check out a couple of those songs that I was telling you about. You can check him out on his Rob Zombie's channel on YouTube. He's got pretty much most of the greatest hits there, with the exception of a few. If you did like his stuff, go out and buy the album. It's pretty cheap. And yeah, I would love to talk about more music in the future, since I'm a real big music guy. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you later. See ya.